You ever look at something that shouldn't be there? Not just out of place, I'm talking about something that feels like it's watching you the moment you lay eyes on it. I've been working this farm going on 37 years now. Same fields. Same house. Same slow rhythm of sun up and sundown. I never thought I'd see anything out here that'd rattle me. But 3 weeks ago, something changed. Subtle at first. The kind of thing you'd shrug off unless you were paying real close attention. It started with a picture. I found it pinned to the trunk of an old pecan tree by the east cornfield. Middle of the day. Bright, cloudless sky. I was checking the irrigation lines when I noticed it fluttering in the breeze. Just a scrap of paper at first. I figured maybe the wind carried someone's trash in from the road. But when I got closer, I saw it was a Polaroid. Faded around the edges, like it had been sitting out a while. It showed a photo of my own cornfield, that exact cornfield, shot from a high angle, like from a drone or one of those fancy satellites, except it looked older. The stalks were shorter, the soil looked less tilled, like it was from years ago. There was something else, though. Right near the center of the frame, standing between the rows, was a man. A man I didn't recognize. He was tall, wearing overalls and a wide-brimmed hat like mine. But his face, it was just blurred. Like someone had smudged it with their thumb, or it had moved during the shot. No features, no expression. Just an outline of a man where a face should have been. At first I figured it was some dumb prank. I'm not known for being sociable. Maybe one of the neighbor kids thought it'd be funny. But the weird thing is, there are no kids nearby. Closest neighbor is 2 miles down, and they moved out 6 months back after their boy broke his leg in a combine accident. Farm's been quiet since. I pulled the photo down, studied it, even checked the back. Nothing but blank white. No date, no writing. I don't know what compelled me, but I slipped it into my back pocket instead of tossing it. Later that night, when the house was quiet and the dogs were settled, I pulled it out again. I kept staring at that blurry man. And I swear to God, I started feeling like I'd seen him before. Not in real life, but in a dream maybe. Or something from a memory I couldn't quite reach. Didn't sleep well that night. The next morning, there was another one. Same kind of photo. Same place. Same faceless man. Only this time, he was closer. I found the second photo nailed to the side of my old grain silo. It was early, sun hadn't quite risen yet. Just that cool, bluish half-light that makes everything look like it's holding its breath. I'd gone out to check on a busted motion sensor near the barn. Coyotes had been sniffing around the chickens again, and I wasn't in the mood to lose another hen. As I passed the silo, I saw something that stopped me dead. Another Polaroid. Same size. Same angle. But this time, the man was closer. Instead of standing deep in the rows of corn, he was maybe 15 feet from where the photo had been taken, clearer now, but not clear. His face was still that strange blur, like someone had wiped Vaseline over it. And in his left hand, he was holding something. It looked like a photograph. The way his hand hung, you couldn't see what was in it, but something about the way his fingers curled around it made my stomach twist. I didn't want to touch the damn thing, but I did anyway. Slid it off the nail and turned it over. Nothing. Blank. I stood there for a long minute, trying to work out who'd be doing this. I don't keep cameras around, haven't for years. My phone's a cheap flip model, barely gets signal, let alone takes pictures. And whoever took these shots had to have done it at night. There were no fresh tracks in the dirt, no signs of anyone walking the fields. But they were getting closer. I don't scare easy. You don't last on a farm by jumping at shadows. But something about this felt wrong in my bones. Ancient wrong. The kind of wrong you don't explain, you just feel. I went back to the house and locked the doors. Started keeping my shotgun a little closer to the kitchen. That night, the dogs started whining before sunset. They're mutts, half-deaf and lazy as hell, but they wouldn't settle. Kept pacing near the door, growling low like they smelled something bad on the wind. I tried to sleep. I really did. But just past midnight, I heard the porch boards creak. Not the wind. Not the old wood settling. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. One step, then another. Then a tap, like something hard pressed against the front window. I grabbed my shotgun and threw open the door, but the porch was empty. Empty except for a single Polaroid, tucked neatly under the welcome mat. This one was different. This one showed my house. Lights on. Curtains open. And there I was, standing at the window. Only I wasn't holding the photo. He was. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in my recliner, shotgun across my lap, lights off, just listening. Every creak, every groan of the house made my gut tighten. I kept checking the photo, flipping it over, like something might change if I looked hard enough. But it was always the same, him, holding the camera, and me in the window, staring straight out like I was posing for it. I never saw a flash. Never heard the shutter. Next morning, I walked the property with the dogs. I needed answers, or at least some damn footprints. But there was nothing. Just the usual dust and dry grass and rows of corn stretching out like walls on either side. I was starting to think I'd lost it. Too many long days alone, too many nights talking to the dogs like they understood. Then I noticed something. A single row of corn, crooked. It weaved just slightly left to right, like someone had walked through it, not in a straight line, but drunk or limping. My heart thudded against my ribs as I knelt to look closer. The soil was disturbed. Not footprints exactly, just places where the dirt had shifted, like something had pressed down, but didn't leave a mark. And halfway down the row, I found a fourth photo. It wasn't nailed or pinned. It was lying face up in the dirt, tucked between two bent stalks. This one hit harder than the rest. It was a picture of my bedroom. The lamp by the nightstand was on. The covers pulled halfway down. You could see the edge of the bed, and just barely, in the corner of the frame, the outline of a man's shadow stretching across the wall. Not mine. And not from the doorway either. It was from inside the room. That's when I realized something that still makes my skin crawl even now. The last time I was in that room, I didn't leave the lamp on. I keep that place dark. Always have. Helps me sleep. But in the photo, it was glowing soft and yellow, casting long shadows. I ran back to the house, heart pounding, dogs nipping at my heels. I tore through the place, checked every closet, under the bed, the attic crawl space. Nothing. But when I went into the bedroom, the lamp was on. Same bulb. Same warm glow. Exactly like the photo. I didn't stay in the house that night. After finding that photo of my bedroom, I packed a bag, took the dogs, and slept in the truck out by the barn. Left the porch light on, window shades open, just to see if anything moved inside. I kept the shotgun across my lap and my eyes on the house till I couldn't hold them open anymore. Nothing happened. Or at least, not there. Sometime after midnight I started hearing whispers. Not voices exactly. More like breath moving through leaves. Like when wind threads its way through the stalks, but gentler. Purposeful. Almost curious. The dogs heard it too. They were sitting bolt upright in the bed of the truck, heads cocked, ears twitching. One of them started to whine, low and shaky. I stepped out, flashlight in one hand, gun in the other, and pointed the beam toward the cornfield. The light barely pierced past the first few rows, but I swear to God, I saw the stalks swaying. Just a slow back and forth, even though there wasn't a breath of wind that night. That's when the smell hit me. It wasn't rot, not exactly. It was sweet, too sweet, like old fruit gone soft. Sticky. Overripe. I gagged without meaning to and wiped my nose, trying to find the source. And then I saw it. A single Polaroid, hanging by a string, swaying gently from a corn stalk like a wind chime. I didn't want to walk into that field. Everything in me screamed not to. But I did. I don't even know why. The moment I stepped between the rows, the air changed. Got thick. Heavy. Like stepping into a sauna where something had died. The whispering grew louder. Closer. almost like it was threading its way through me, not around me. I reached the photo, snatched it down quick and backed out fast as I could, breathing through my mouth, heart jackhammering in my chest. Back in the truck, I turned it over. This one wasn't like the others. It wasn't of my property. It was of me. Not now. Young. Maybe 16 or 17, standing at the edge of the field with my dad's old tractor in the background. Only thing is, I don't remember anyone ever taking that photo. But the worst part. I was holding something in my hands. It looked like a Polaroid. And in that photo, the man was standing behind me. Same faceless blur. Same wide-brimmed hat. Only this time, he had a hand on my shoulder. The moment I saw that photo, the one of me as a kid, I felt something crack loose inside me. Like a sealed box in the attic of my memory had been forced open. I sat there in the cab of my truck, staring down at that image, trying to breathe around the weight pressing on my chest. I remembered that day. I shouldn't have, but I did. The tractor had broken down near the east fence line. Dad was in a foul mood, cussing and sweating under the hood. I was holding a wrench, standing useless. I remembered the sun being brutal, the smell of hot oil and cut grass. But I never remembered anyone else being there. Certainly not someone standing behind me. And definitely not touching me. The moment I tried to recall his face, my skin prickled. Like I was standing too close to an electric fence. It wasn't just a hole in the memory, it was a warning. Every time I tried to focus on that blurred figure in the photo, my head would throb and my vision would swim. Like my brain was trying to protect me from something I wasn't supposed to know. I kept thinking, who took the photo? Why now? And more importantly, how the hell did they get it? I didn't go back in the house. Instead, I drove into town. There's a little antique shop near the gas station run by a woman named Ruth. She's got a reputation for being into the weird stuff, dream journals, spirit boards, energy readings, all that nonsense I used to roll my eyes at. But I was out of answers. She was just opening up when I got there. I must have looked like hell, wild-eyed, smelling like stale sweat and engine grease, because she didn't even ask questions. Just led me inside and offered coffee. I handed her the stack of Polaroids. She looked through them one by one, lips pursed, humming quietly to herself like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. Finally, she looked up and said, "These aren't photos." I blinked. "They look like photos. They used to be," she said. "But they've been altered. Not by hand. Not by anything human. These are like scars in time. Places where something got in and twisted things." She laid the one of me as a kid flat on the table, then pointed to the blurred man behind me. "You don't see him," she said. "But he's always there. That's what it does. It latches onto a moment and rewrites it." I asked her what it was. She didn't answer. Instead, she went to a dusty shelf in the back and pulled down an old book, leather-bound, cracked down the spine. Inside were sketches. Charcoal drawings of people, always standing, always looking at the artist, always with no face. It was in the margins of one page that I saw something that made my blood run cold. A simple phrase scribbled in faded ink. "The man in the crops. He watches what you forget." I left Ruth's place with more questions than answers and a knot in my gut that wouldn't come loose. She'd warned me before I walked out the door. "If you see him in your dreams, don't speak. Don't move. Don't even breathe too loud. Just pretend you're part of the picture." I didn't ask what she meant. I didn't want to know. That night, I parked the truck at the edge of the property again, engine off, windows cracked. The dogs wouldn't even get out this time. They curled up tight and shook, noses buried in their paws. I sat in silence, eyes scanning the fields, waiting. The whispering started around 1 a.m. Only this time, it wasn't in the field. It was behind the truck. I turned, slow as I could, and that's when I saw it, a new photo, resting on the back window like it had been gently placed there. I didn't even hear it arrive. It showed me again. Sitting in the truck. Same posture. Same clothes. But the photo was taken from the bed of the truck itself, looking through the glass. The angle, it was impossible. I would have seen someone back there. Heard them. But there it was, me, in real time, frozen in a photograph I never knew was being taken. And in the corner of the image, barely visible, like he was pressing against the edge of the moment, was the blurred man. He was crouching this time. Not standing. Crouching behind the driver's seat with his hand inches from my shoulder. I dropped the photo like it burned me. Didn't sleep after that. The next day, the power in the house went out. Not just a flicker, dead. No lights, no hum from the fridge, no buzz from the well pump. Breaker box was fine. No storms. Just gone. So I lit some lanterns, hauled water in from the rain barrels, and sat with my back to the wall, shotgun in my lap, Polaroids spread out on the table in front of me like tarot cards. And that's when I noticed something I hadn't seen before. In every photo, no matter how different the location or time of day, the angle was always the same height, about 6 feet off the ground. Except the last one. The one from the truck bed. That one was lower. It was taken from just behind my seat, angled up, like whoever took it had been crouching. Waiting. Watching. And then, I realized something else. In that photo, the man's hand wasn't just reaching toward me. It was holding something. A key. One of mine. I rushed back into the house, heart in my throat, every door suddenly suspect. I ran to the gun cabinet, the lockbox, the shed out back, checked all of them. But it was the cellar door that made my knees go weak. It was unlocked. I stood at the top of the cellar stairs for what felt like hours, shotgun aimed down into the dark. That lock hadn't been touched in years. Not since my brother died. He used to store old hunting gear and jars of pickled God knows what down there. After he passed, I sealed it up. Left it to the mice and dust. I had no reason to go down there. Until now. The air coming up from below was cold. Not musty like I expected. Cold like an open freezer. And there was that smell again, the overripe sweetness, like bruised fruit left too long in the sun. But beneath it, something else. Earth. Fresh earth. Turned soil. The kind you only smell when something's been dug up, or buried. I stepped down slowly, 1 foot at a time, flashlight in one hand, barrel in the other. The beam cut through the dark in thin slices. Dust floated through it like ash. And then I saw them. Photos. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Strung up along the ceiling on twine like laundry. Clipped edge to edge, row after row, stretching the entire length of the cellar. The photos fluttered slightly in the draft, brushing against each other with the soft hiss of paper on paper. I walked beneath them, breath caught in my throat. Every photo showed me. Sleeping. Eating. Driving the tractor. Sitting on the porch. Moments I never remembered being watched. Some recent, some from decades ago. Some from angles that weren't possible. One was taken from above, like from the rafters of my bedroom. Another from inside my bathroom mirror. But one photo made me stop cold. It was me, as a boy in the old barn with my brother. We were holding shovels. Dirt on our pants. Grins on our faces like we'd done something big and important. Thing is, I don't remember what we buried that day. My hand started shaking. That's when I noticed something else. In the far corner of the cellar, where the concrete turned to dirt, the wall had been disturbed. A section of it, about 3 feet wide, looked recently dug out, soil piled loosely to the side. And jutting from the dirt like crooked teeth were the splintered remains of a wooden box. A casket. Small. Child-sized. The moment I stepped toward it, the light flickered. Then it died. Everything went black. And from somewhere behind me, in the darkness, came a whisper, not like the others. This one was wet. Breathy. Right against my ear. You buried the wrong one. I ran. Dropped the flashlight. Nearly tripped on the steps climbing out of the cellar. Didn't even bother shutting the door behind me. Just bolted out into the open air like something was chasing me, and maybe it was. The sky was still dark. No stars. No moon. Just that low, heavy black that feels like it's pressing down on your lungs. I didn't stop until I was out in the middle of the field, standing between the corn rows, breathing hard, heart trying to break free of my chest. The stalks around me swayed gently, though the air was dead still. And then I remembered. The barn. That photo from the cellar. Me and my brother, grinning with our shovels like a couple of proud little idiots. That memory, the one that used to feel innocent, started to unravel. Something we'd buried. Something Dad told us never to talk about. And we didn't. Not for decades. I went back to the barn, still gripping the shotgun like it could help, like it could do anything against this. The dirt floor was uneven. I walked the perimeter until I found it, one patch near the back wall that sounded different under my boots. Hollow. I grabbed a pitchfork from the rack and started digging. The ground gave way easy, like it wanted to be opened. And after only a few minutes I hit wood. Old. Rotten. I cleared the dirt away until I uncovered the full lid. And burned into it, carved with a knife or maybe a nail, were 4 words. He knows who switched. My stomach turned. I pried it open. Inside, bones. Small. Curled feet-alike. Barely held together. And clutched in those brittle arms was another Polaroid. This one was different. No cornfield. No house. No truck. Just 2 boys, maybe 10 years old, standing side by side. One of them was me. The other. I dropped to my knees. It wasn't my brother. It looked like him. Same clothes, same haircut. But the smile was wrong. Too wide. Too many teeth. And the eyes? Dead. Flat. Like he wasn't all there. Like something had taken his place. I started putting pieces together I didn't want to. The way my brother had changed after that summer. How he stopped sleeping through the night. How animals wouldn't go near him. How he just watched people sometimes without blinking. And how he was the one who told me to help him dig the hole. I stared down at that small coffin. My brother never came back from the field that day. Whatever did, it wore him like a skin. And I helped it bury what was left of him. I couldn't stay on the property after that. I packed a bag, grabbed the dogs, drove until the gas tank warned me I couldn't go much farther. Ended up at a roadside motel off Route 56, the kind of place where nobody asks questions. I paid cash. Took the corner room. Pulled the curtains tight. But the Polaroids followed me. I found the first one in the sink the next morning. My toothbrush and razor in the foreground, the motel's cracked mirror behind them. And there he was. The man with no face. Standing behind me in the reflection. I checked out an hour later. Tried to drive to Ruth's shop, but when I got there, it was empty. Closed signs swinging in the wind. Her name scraped off the front glass like it had been gone for years. The photos kept coming. Tucked into the glove box. Slid under my windshield wiper. One jammed into my boot when I pulled it off for the night. All of them taken moments before I found them. All of them showing me from angles I never saw, never felt, but somehow, he was always just out of reach. And always closer. I started burning them. Didn't help. They'd come back darker. More warped. The blur on his face spreading, bleeding like ink into the frame, as if the picture couldn't hold him in anymore. Then, 2 nights ago, I had the dream. Or maybe it wasn't a dream. I was back in the cornfield. Only this time, it was harvest ready, stalks towering over me like walls, golden and dry, whispering with every step I took. I didn't know why I was there. Not until I looked down. A Polaroid camera in my hands. Old. Heavy. Familiar. And then I heard it, his voice. For the first time. Soft. Hollow. You remember now. So take your picture. I turned, and there he was. Standing just a few feet away. Still faceless. But something underneath that blur shifted, like it wanted to show itself, but only if I asked. I raised the camera, hands trembling. Why me? I asked. He tilted his head, slow and crooked. You saw it. And you forgot. But forgetting doesn't make you innocent. I took the photo. The flash blinded me. And I woke up in my truck, parked outside the house I'd left behind. Only it wasn't mine anymore. The windows were black. The doors wide open. And in the field, the corn was gone, cut to the root. Standing in the middle of the empty rows was a man in overalls, hat low, a camera dangling from his hand. He didn't move. Just stood there, waiting. I stepped out of the truck. Didn't bother with the shotgun this time. What good was it against something that could crawl into your memories, twist them like barbed wire, and string them across time like laundry? The earth felt wrong beneath my boots, too soft, like it had been recently dug, like everything underfoot was just barely holding together. He was still there. That man. Same overalls. Same wide-brimmed hat. Same faceless blur where his features should have been. Only now he was holding something in his other hand. A photo. He raised it slowly. Let it flutter loose in the wind. It drifted through the dry air, flipping end over end until it landed just a few feet in front of me. I picked it up. And I swear, for a second, I couldn't breathe. It was me, tonight. Standing in that exact spot, looking down at the photo I was now holding. The moment perfectly captured, like he'd known exactly when I'd arrive. But there was something else in the frame. Something behind me. I turned. Nothing. Just the truck. But in the photo? There was a second version of me, walking out of the cornfield. Face blank. Skin pale. Expression empty. But the eyes were wide open, like someone who'd finally remembered everything. And in his hand, he was holding a shovel. The same one we used the day we buried the box. I dropped the photo. The wind took it, but not far. The man, the thing, spoke again. Voice like rust dragging across metal. You can keep running. Or you can finish what you started. I didn't ask what he meant. Because I already knew. The box in the cellar. The wrong one buried. The thing that wore my brother's skin for all those years, it hadn't just watched. It had used me. And now, it wanted me to finish the job, to bury what should have stayed dead. Or take his place. I looked at the figure approaching through the stalks. The second version of me, silent, steady, shovel in hand. I only had one choice left. I turned the camera on myself. Raised it. Took the picture. The flash lit up the field. And in that moment I saw everything. The rose, the house, the man, the memory, the mistake. And then, nothing. They found the farm weeks later. Empty house. Empty truck. Cellar wide open. No sign of me. Just a single Polaroid nailed to the barn wall. A shot of the cornfield. And in the middle of it, a man in overalls and a wide-brimmed hat, standing perfectly still. Face blurred. But if you look real close, you can see a shovel in his hand. And a camera slung over his shoulder. Waiting. Just like I did.